Hello Gemini, Sun, Rising, and Venus, and welcome to your reading. So Gemini, today we're going to go over your energy as well as your person's energy. We're going to see how the both of you are currently viewing this relationship and how you guys feel about it and what actions you guys plan on taking each other's direction and are moving forward. So with all that being said, Gemini, let's get started, shall we? Okay. Let's focus on this energy really quickly here so that way the reading in itself flows and it all makes sense. Why do I feel like you know this person? I don't feel like this is like a new person. This is definitely somebody that you already have a lot of history with. There's somebody here that wants to start over with you. It's like the best way that I could put it. You know, they're kind of coming in with this energy of, you know I messed up. I know I shouldn't have done this. I know I shouldn't have done that. Can we just start over? Can we just start over, Gemini? Can we just leave the past in the past, please? And it looks like for the most part, starting over with this person is exactly what you want to do. So it kind of looks like you're basically getting back together with someone that unfortunately did something, okay, to self-sabotage things here between the two of you. I see them admitting that. I see them acknowledging that. And I just see them simply wanting to start over with you. Okay, let's just leave the past in the past, Gemini. And it kind of looks like you're willing to do that. Okay, so you're getting back together with this person. Okay, now let's look at this human, shall we? How does this person currently view this relationship with Gemini? Okay, let's see. All right, so we have the we have the Ace of Swords, we have the Hangman, and then we also have the King of Pentacles. Okay. Okay. I mean, I like this person's energy so far. We'll see. We'll see how this plays out. And the only reason I'm like, okay, we'll see when it comes on to this person is because even though I see this person saying all the right things, doing all the right things, you know, we'll see because they do harness Knight of Swords energy, and anybody who harnesses Knight of Swords energy can be very unpredictable at times. Okay, so we'll see if this person's able to kind of keep up this good behavior, honey. We'll see because right now I see them saying all the right things, doing all the right things, you know, because they want to make this dynamic between the two of you work. So yeah, this is them putting their best foot forward. This is them walking that fine line, but we'll see. I hate the fact that this person harnesses Knight of Swords energy. We'll see. I mean, they're doing good so far, so we'll see. Hopefully they stay that way. Because I feel like this person, at this point, they know, you know what I mean? At this point, this person knows that, you know, if they go left, the relationship is going to go left. If they just continue to remain on this path that they're currently on, which is basically the right path, which is basically, you know, the path that's going to essentially, you know, improve this relationship, make this relationship better, you know, things are just going to continue to improve and get better between the two of you. But we'll see, nonetheless, how this all plays out. How does Gemini currently feel about this relationship? So we do have the Six of Pentacles, we do have the Justice card, and then we also have the Five of Pentacles. Okay, so in regards to how you're currently feeling about this relationship, so let's just focus on like your history with this person really quickly here. So there has been many times where this person tells you, you know what, Gemini, I'm going to change. I'm going to stop doing this. I'm going to stop doing that. And then they turn around and they do it again, or they turn around and they do something new, or whatever the case may be. That's just what your history has essentially revealed to you, right? That there's times where unfortunately this person is not a man of their word, or they're not a woman of their word. That's just what history has essentially shown you about this person in particular. Now, are you hoping that, you know, this time around, you know, they mean what they say? Yes, absolutely. That's what you're essentially hoping for, because at the end of the day, you would love nothing more for this dynamic between the two of you to essentially work out. But only time will essentially tell, right? If this person is going to do right by you in this dynamic that they share with you or not. Now let's jump back over to them. It's kind of like the epitome of hoping for the best, but like preparing yourself for the worst at the same exact time because of your history with this person. How does this person, okay, how does this person currently feel? Let's see. Okay, so we have the King of Swords, we have the Nine of Swords, and then we also have the Six of Cups out here. Before I say anything, I do want to like clarify something really quickly here. Tell me more about the Nine of Swords. Okay, so okay, Nine of Swords, Ten of Swords, Two of Wands, and then we also have the Magician out here. Okay. Okay. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure what this person told you that they said that they were not going to do again and or change, okay? I'm not entirely sure, okay? But if it's one thing that I will say is this: whatever this person told you that they're not going to do ever again, or that they're going to essentially change about themselves, I think this person's realizing, shit, this is hard. This is a lot harder than I thought it would be. But here's my thing, okay, is that this person knows, okay? Just want to throw that out there. They know that if they go left, the relationship is going to go left. If they continue to go right, things are going to continue to go right within this dynamic here, between the two of you. Another thing too, and this part doesn't really make any sort of logical sense to me, but I'm going to say it anyways, okay? This person does come off to me as somebody who does have a fear of essentially losing you in their relationship with you. Now, you would think, okay, like if this person, has a fear of losing you in this dynamic that they share with you, you would think that they would basically shy away from doing things that could potentially cause them to essentially lose you, right? Right, okay. So, the fact that they continue to put you in this predicament time and time again is that I cannot explain. I can't really explain why they do that, because it doesn't make logical sense. I'm not the only one, right, that's thinking this, right? Because it doesn't make sense to me. Because when I got the message, I'm just like, yeah, that doesn't make fucking sense. Like, if they have a fear of losing you, you would think, right, logically speaking, that they would avoid doing things that could potentially put them in that predicament to lose you, but then they turn around and do it anyways. So it's like, the fear of losing you is there because it's there, it's showing up in their energy, but I don't know, it doesn't freaking make sense to me. That doesn't make any logical sense. Like, because it's true, they do have a fear of losing you, that's true. But what's also true is that they put themselves in predicaments to lose you. So that just like the math is not freaking mathing in my brain. And I don't know if it's just me. Maybe I don't know. Or are we on the same page here? Like, if you have a fear of losing somebody, wouldn't you want to like do everything that you could to like avoid losing them? Right? 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 Or is it just, I don't freaking know. That's what I'm saying. That part doesn't really make sense to me. I can't really like rationalize like this energy because it doesn't make fucking sense. But maybe it's just me. Maybe the coffee hasn't kicked in. I don't know. Okay. Tell me more about the Nine of Swords to the Ten of Swords. All right, we have the Moon. We also have the Emperor out here. I feel like this person's trying their hardest to practice self-control. Okay, so whatever this involves, it has a lot to do with them needing self-control. Again, I'm not really sure what this is all referring to, you guys. Everybody's situation is going to be different, but I know that for sure it requires them to have self-control. It requires them to have self-control. Okay. Which I feel like they're trying, their hardest to like have like, some self-control here. Whatever. Okay. So here's what I'm getting. It requires them to have self-control. Okay, so it requires them to have self-control, but it's also something that they've been doing for a while. That's the only thing that I can say. Now, in regards to what they've been doing for a while, I don't know. You would obviously know. But then it also requires them to have self-control. So this to me just kind of feels like a habit. It's kind of leaning far more towards like a habit. A habit. Now, you might think it's a bad habit that this person has. They don't see it that way, if that makes any sense. They don't see this thing that they're doing as like a bad thing. They don't see this thing that they're doing as like something that's like catastrophic, to this dynamic, but it just kind of looks like that's how you see it. Again, I'm not entirely sure what this is referring to, but I mean, this person is definitely trying, their hardest to practice, self-control, because an emperor is somebody who has self-control. And this is kind of what they're practicing is, self-control. But I feel like this person's kind of realizing like, damn, like this is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Like I thought this was going to be easy, to not do this, to not do that, to stop doing this, stop doing that. But it's like they're realizing how hard it is because they've been doing it for so long. Doing what? I don't know. But they've been doing this thing for so long. You know what I mean? So to just stop, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm sure in their head, they probably thought, this is going to be easy. You know what I mean? And they, as they're now practicing it, they're starting to realize, yo, this shit is like super fucking hard. I didn't think it was going to be this hard. You know what I mean? I wouldn't call this an addiction. I would call this more so a habit. You know what I mean? I would call this more so like a habit. I wouldn't say that it's an addiction, which is a good thing. It's a good thing that it's not an addiction because I don't believe that it is. Like whatever they're struggling with, I don't believe it's an addiction. I believe it's a habit. You know what I mean? I believe it's a habit. I don't believe it's an addiction though, which is, like I said, it's a lot better than, in other words, like the chances, I guess, of them, completely putting a stop to whatever this thing is more, likely to happen versus somebody who has like an addiction. That's like a whole nother freaking bag of burritos. Which thank God that's not something that they're struggling with as far as like being addicted to whatever this thing is. Yeah, so that's my 2 cents on that. What actions? Well, Gemini, and that's another thing. And then again, I mean, you are dealing with a masculine energy, so this is like very, very common to see amongst masculine energies. So when masculine energies tend to like struggle with something, they're not open about it. They rarely are ever open about it. When we look at feminine energies, when feminine energies are struggling with something, they talk about it. They call their friends and they talk about it. They call their family members and they talk about it. Masculine energies, when they're going through something, they just bottle that shit in. They're not calling, their family members and talking about it. They're not calling their friends and talking about it. They're keeping it all to themselves. So I think that what they're doing and how they're approaching the entire situation is basically signing themselves up for failure. And here's why. I think that if this person were to be open, honest, and transparent with you and tell you straight up, yo, like, look, Gemini, that thing that you wanted me to stop doing, look, I thought this was going to be easy. You know what I mean? Like, I really thought that this was going to be easy, but I'm starting to realize, like, yo, like, this is, like, mad hard. Like, this is fucking hard. You know what I mean? And I didn't think it was going to be this hard. I don't even understand why it's this hard either. I don't get it. But because, again, this is not an addiction that we're talking about here. You know what I mean? If it was an addiction, different story. You know what I mean? It's a different story. They're not going to find themselves harnessing the energy of, I thought this was going to be easy. Like, they wouldn't be harnessing that energy, because when you're addicted to something, you know you are. And to break that seems like remotely impossible, right? But when you just have like, a habit of doing something, you know what I mean? Like for example, with me, I have a habit, unfortunately, I have a habit of buying coffee from the coffee shop every fucking morning, like clockwork. You know what I mean? Like, these people already know that I'm coming. Like, most of the time they already have my coffee like just sitting there waiting for me, because I show up at the same exact time. I order the same exact thing every single freaking day. Okay. And I've been doing this for years. Okay. And I remember, like, you know, when I stop doing it, I'm just like, whoa, like this is weird not going to the coffee shop in the morning. Like, oh my God, like these people probably have my freaking drink just waiting there for me and I'm not going to show up. You know what I mean? Like it was oddly enough, it was super hard. I mean, I did it, but it was like so challenging and hard. And I felt so tempted, you know what I mean? Many times to just, let me just go today. You know what I mean? Like it's been a whole week. Like, let me just go. Let me just let these people know I'm alive. You know what I mean? Because again, I was doing this for years, every day, same coffee shop every day for years. So, and I feel like that's kind of what that's what this person's kind of struggling with. It's more so like they formed a habit and they're trying to break that habit. And as they're trying to break that habit, because just like they thought that it was going to be easy to break whatever habit they had, I thought it was going to be cake. I thought it was going to be cake. Like it was going to be a walk in the park for me. Like to just not go to the coffee shop. Like that's not a big deal. Just don't go to the coffee. Make your fucking coffee at home, lady. Like that's just how I kind of like spinned it in my head. Like, you know what I mean? And then like push came to shove and I was like, I want to go to a coffee shop. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so that's just kind of what they're going through, right? But point that I'm making is that if this person were to be honest and transparent with you, I think that, you know, they would have a much better, you know, they still have like a really, really good chance at completely like stopping whatever this thing is. But I think that if they were to be honest and transparent with you and say, hey, look, I thought this was going to be easy and I'm starting to realize like it's not freaking easy. Like this is what I'm going through. Like this is how I'm feeling right now. Like I think that if this person, hypothetically speaking, if this person were to do whatever this thing is, you know, again, you know what I mean? I think that you would react differently versus them just turning around and doing it either way. And then on top of that, you end up finding out about it. Does that make sense? Like, I think that because you're a Gemini, let's just take that into consideration. If this person were to tell you like, yo, like, this is like, this is freaking hard. Like, I'm struggling with this, blah, blah, you know what I mean? Like, and if this person, you know, sits there and tells you, you know, I'm thinking about doing this again, like, I don't want to do it, you know, because I want this to work, but it's just like this, you know what I mean? Like, and if they were to go back to whatever this thing is that you obviously don't want them doing, I think that, you know, your reaction would be different. I think that you would turn around and instantly give them grace instead of turning around and instantly giving them hell, as you should, honey, as you should, okay, as you should. But you know what I mean? Like, not saying don't give this person hell or anything like that, because it just, it all kind of depends on how they play it. Because depending on how they play it will determine how you respond. You know, if this person's honest and transparent with you and tells you, yo, like, I'm struggling with this, you're going to respect that. I'm telling you, if you're dealing with a Gemini, you're going through this and this is you resonate, they're going to respect it far more. They're going to respect it far more. Now, if you turn around, you do it, you know, and you don't say nothing, you know what I mean? Fingers crossed you don't get caught. And they end up finding out, because that's the thing with Geminis too. It's like, you can't hide anything from them. Like, you can't hide anything. You truly cannot, you know what I mean? So it's like, there's just no damn point, because they're going to fucking find out anyway. So it's like, you see, so it's like, if you do go down that route of, oh, I'm just going to do it, fingers crossed they don't find out about it, and then they end up finding out about it, which 9 times out of 10 they will, you're going to get a bad reaction from them. It is what it is. You know what I mean? But if you were to be honest and transparent, the reaction is going to be different. You know, they're more than likely going to turn around and give you grace. You know what I mean? Or try to like look for ways to like help you. You know what I mean? Stop doing whatever this thing is that you just keep doing. You know what I mean? So anyways, in regards to how you plan on moving forward, we do have the Two of Swords. We do have the Judgment card. And then we also have the Sun. So things for the most part are looking good. Right? Between you and this person, things are looking up. You know what I mean? Things are looking good. Things are looking good. Things are looking good, honey. But given your history with this person, back to the Judgment card, you're kind of sitting in this energy of, we'll see. We'll see. Things are good now, you know, but hey, you know, something might happen later. I guess we'll see what happens, huh? You know, that's the energy that you're basically harnessing. Are you hoping that, you know, you're not going to have to deal with this shit anymore? Absolutely. That's what you're hoping for. But only time will essentially tell, right? Let's look at this person. What actions? Okay. I want to look at that Ten of Swords energy, but we do have the Wheel of Fortune. We also have the Lovers, okay, and the Ten of Swords. Tell me more about the Ten of Swords. Okay, so we do have the Four of Pentacles to the Eight of Pentacles, and then we also have the, yeah, more of that self-control, because the Four of Pentacles could also represent, you know, self-control. Okay, so, okay, this is, they know if they go left, the relationship is going to go left. It is what it is. They know if they continue to go right, things are going to go right between the two of you. But see, the thing is that whatever you don't want this person doing, or whatever you want them to stop doing, whatever have you, it's a lot harder than they thought it would be. And they honestly didn't think it would be this fucking hard. You know what I mean? How do I explain this? Like, I mean, this would only, like, you know, this would only make sense if you're a homebody yourself. But let's just say, like, you know, like, remember when, like, the COVID, you know, happened, or whatever the hell, you know what I mean? And everybody had to stay home, you know, even down to the homebodies. They had to stay home. I don't know if you peeped this, because I sure did. Even the freaking homebodies didn't want to essentially be home, but they were told, you have to stay home. You gotta stay home. You gotta stay home. You gotta stay 6 feet away from people. You know what I mean? Even though that homebody had no issues before the COVID hit, you know, as far as staying 6 feet away from a person and staying home, they had no issues with that. The moment COVID came around, it's like now all of a sudden all the homebodies wanted to be out. Now all of a sudden all the homebodies wanted to, you know, be close to a person all of a sudden. And I feel like that's also what's happening here too with this person, is that they're being told, you can't do this anymore. You can't do this anymore. Sorry, you just can't do this anymore. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's kind of messing with them, you know, because whatever this thing is that you don't want them to do, I don't believe it. I mean, I don't believe it's something that they would do on a frequent basis. I wouldn't say that, you know what I mean? So this person is not like me, where I was going to the coffee shop all the freaking time, every single freaking day, every morning. You know what I mean? Like, whatever they were doing on their end, it wasn't anything frequent. You know what I mean? So here you are coming in telling this person, well, you need to stop doing this. You know, and it's like, they're just like, yeah, I can fucking do that. That's nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I only go to the coffee shop once a month. That's not a big deal. You know what I mean? And then push comes to shove, and it's time for them to actually practice, you know what I mean? Not going to that coffee shop, even if it's once a month, you know what I mean? They still find themselves having the urge to do that, to go to the coffee shop. Even though they used to just go to the coffee shop once a month, they still find the urge of wanting to go to the freaking coffee shop all of a sudden, you know, because now they're being told not to, you know what I mean? It's, I guess it's like a psychological thing or whatever. The same thing, like the example that I said with the freaking homebodies. And then when COVID came out of nowhere, it's like the homebodies all of a sudden wanted to be, you know, out and about, you know, and hanging out with people, you know what I mean? Which is something that they typically don't do. They might do it once a month. But for the vast majority of the time, they're home. They're not really surrounding themselves with people like that. They're not really going to clubs, nothing like that, you know. But then COVID comes around, and then now they're being told, you got to stay home. They're just like, well, I don't want to. I don't want to stay home. I actually want to go out. I actually want to go out every day now, you know what I mean? Which is something that they never used to do, you know what I mean? So anyways, I say all of that to say this. Now that you're telling them you can't do this, it's like they want to do it even more now. They want to do it even more now. It's a psychological thing, I guess. It's just a psychological thing. Like, they want to do it even more now. They think about it even more now, you know, because now you're telling, no, you can't do this. And it's not, now the desire to do it, you know, even more than they originally were doing it, it's intensifying, and it's basically increasing. And on top of that, they're keeping it to themselves. They're not even telling you anything. Like, they're not telling you, like, hey, Gemini, like, yo, like, I'm starting to notice, you know what I mean? That this is freaking hard. Like, this is freaking hard. Like, how am I supposed to freaking do this? Like, how am I supposed to do this? Like, how am I supposed to do this? And I'm pretty sure in your head, because you guys are very cerebral people, you're just like, just don't do it. It's just that simple. You know, you guys are very logical people. Just that simple. Don't fucking do it. And that's that. And then we're good. We don't have no problems. You know, and it's just like, but in their head, it's like, but I want to. You know what I mean? But I want to, and I want to even more now. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a weird thing. It's like a psychological weird thing, like, that's going on with this person, but they're not talking to you about it. That's the thing. They're keeping it to themselves, which again, it's a common thing. This is, you're dealing with a masculine energy. They're gonna keep a lot to themselves. The masculine energies are just not open when it comes down to like their struggles and stuff like that. What advice can you give me for this spread? Okay, so we have the Seven of Cups. We have the Hierophant to the Page of Pentacles. And then we also, let me clarify something really quickly here. I just think that this person's kind of wrong about you. That's my thing. This person, I feel like this person doesn't really know you like they think they know you, if that makes any sense. Like, in other words, like if this person were to come up to you and tell you like, yo, Gemini, like, look, I know you don't want me, I know you don't want me going to the coffee shop. You know what I mean? Like, even though I only used to go like once a month and stuff like that, but like, yo, this shit is hard. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, I really want to go to the fucking coffee shop, damn it. Like, this person in their head, they think like, nah, I can't tell Gemini something like that because like, they're going to flip out on me. They're going to spaz on me. They're going to get mad. They're going to get upset. Like, they don't know you like they think they know you, if that makes any sense. Like, you're not going to do that. You know, if anything, you're going to be, if anything, for one, you're going to be open and receptive to what this person has to say. You know, you're going to try to turn around and, you know, just, you know, look for ways to like, you know, help this person to stop doing whatever the hell you don't want them doing anymore. And just be there for them as much as you possibly can. You know what I mean? But in their head, they're just like, nah, they're gonna spaz on me. They're gonna punch me in the throat. I don't want that. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't think this person knows you like they think they do. Like, I don't. I don't. No, I don't. I think that you're somebody who is a great listener. Let's just start there with that page energy coming out here for you. I think that this is somebody who can be open and honest with you, and they don't have to worry about you turning around and judging them. I think that you're capable of giving somebody grace, considering the fact that you do harness Hierophant energy within your energy. So giving a person grace is something that you have done many, many times, you know, in your life. As far as practicing, you know, forgiveness, you've done that many, many times. On top of that, utilizing patience with a person, like you've done that many times. Like, you're the perfect person that they should be going to discuss all of these things with, is basically what I'm saying. You know what I mean? But in their head, they're just like, nah, fuck that. I'm not doing that because Gemini's gonna punch me in the throat. Gemini's gonna spaz on me. Gemini's gonna do this. Gemini's gonna do that. Well, you're not. Granted, if this person decides, screw it, I'm gonna go to the coffee shop, because come on, like, before Gemini was telling me all this stuff, like, I was only going to the coffee shop, you know, once a month. There's people like Milagros Tarot that goes every fucking day. I only go to the coffee shop once a month, whatever, right? You know what I mean? Like, if they decide to take it upon themselves to just turn around and just go to the damn coffee shop, you know what? You're gonna get mad. It is what it is. You're gonna get mad. They're going to experience a version of you that they don't want to essentially experience. And I think that that's the version that they're kind of like talking about, is kind of what I'm getting. Like, this whole, they're gonna spaz on me, they're gonna do this, they're gonna do that. I think that that's like the version that they're like talking about. But I don't think that that's what's gonna happen if they were to come to you and tell you like, yo, like, I really want to go to the coffee shop. I really want to go to the coffee shop. I mean, I just want to fucking go to the coffee shop, damn it, Gemini. Like, let me just go to the coffee shop. You know what I mean? And it's just like, if this person were to tell you, I just want to go to the coffee shop, I'm kind of struggling with this. I thought that it was going to be easy to not go to the freaking coffee shop, but I've got to go to the fucking coffee shop. Like, I think that you're going to be the type of person that's, all right, like, let's talk about it. Like, why is this so hard for you? Like, I don't understand. Like, what's going on? Like, I just want to understand, because that's who you are as a person. You want to understand. You want to understand people. That's just you. You're a Gemini. You want to understand people. So with that being said, yeah, I think that you're the perfect person for them to you know, talk to about this. But they're just like, no, because they're gonna do this, they're gonna do that. It's like, how the hell would you know if you've never even gone down that route before? How would you know that to be true? You know what I mean? Like, and that's the thing. It's like, they're just gonna have to do it, you know, they're just gonna have to tell you, you know what I mean? And then whatever happens, happens. But I don't think they're gonna get the reaction that they think they're gonna get from you. I'm not gonna sit here and say all that, because I don't believe that they would. You would respect it far more if this person were to keep it $150 with you than to turn around and lie to your face. Or for you to catch them in a lie, or for you to find something out. You would respect this person far more if they told you straight up, like, yo, I'm struggling with this, that, and the freaking third, okay? Thought I'd let you know. I don't know what I'm gonna do about it. You know what I mean? You got any suggestions? Anything, you know? Anything help me, you know what I mean? But that another thing too, Gemini, and it's just something that I want you to just kind of like be aware of, is that they don't feel safe. And there's a reason why they don't feel safe to come and tell you, like, yo, look, I'm struggling with this, down the third, is because of your reaction. It's your reaction that I'm getting, that they don't feel safe or secure enough to like be open and honest with this thing that they're struggling with, because of your reaction towards it prior. Okay, so if you used to blow up on this person, you went as far as to punch the man or the woman in the throat, you know what I mean? It's like, I can see why this person's hesitant on being open, honest, vulnerable, things of that nature. I get it. This does kind of, in a way, require them to find the courage within themselves to do it, first things first. But, Gemini, you know, you also kind of have to create that safe space for them. You know what I mean? So, like, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, hopefully it doesn't happen, but let's just say, hypothetically speaking, you know, they turn around and they do whatever this damn thing is again, and you catch them, okay? Instead of, you know, going to your, you know, shed to get the machete, you know, to chop their head off, don't do that, you know what I mean? You know, ask this person, like, what's going on? Like, what made you do this? Like, I thought you said you weren't gonna do it anymore. Like, what's going on? Like, you need to kind of like create that safe space for this person to be able to open up to you. So instead of you spazzing on them, like, regroup, you know, bring it all in, regroup, you know what I mean? And then have that conversation with them. Like, hey, like, what's going on? Like, I thought you said that you were gonna stop doing this. Like, you know, you're clearly still doing this. Like, what's going on? Like, let's just like talk about this. Like, just tell me, like, you know, what caused you to do this all over again? Like, you know, what's going on? Just talk to me. Like, you need to create that safe space, you know, for them. Because if you don't, they're not going to be, you know, open and honest and transparent, you know, with you when it comes down to this, because they're not, I want to make this clear. This person's not doing X, Y, and Z because they want to hurt you, because they want to let you down, because they want to disappoint you, because no, they're not doing it for those reasons. And I understand why you would take it that way, but they're not doing all of these things for those reasons. They're not like, today's going to be the day, I'm going to do this, and I know it's going to hurt Gemini, but I'm going to do it anyways, damn it. Like, no, like, that's not their mindset whatsoever when they do whatever this thing is. Like, that's not what they're thinking, you know what I mean? This is a habit. They've been doing it forever. It is what it is. Like, you know what I mean? It's just affecting you. You know what I mean? It's just affecting you. So I think that that's something that they're trying to like remind themselves of. I can't do this because it's going to hurt Gemini. It's going to affect them. Let me not do this. Even though they're not doing it with the intentions of hurting you, it still hurts you either which way, which they're trying to, you know, like I said, remind themselves of that, factor that in, which we see them doing it here. They're factoring all of that in. They're taking that, they're stopping themselves to think, okay, let me not, because like, Gemini is going to think this, they're going to think that, they're going to feel this, they're going to feel it. I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? But at the same exact time, it's like they're struggling because this thing that you don't, I guess, want them doing is a habit. You know what I mean? It's just a fucking habit. Okay. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of, I guess, throw that out there too, is that they're not doing all this in the name of today's going to be the day I'm going to hurt Gemini. I'm going to go off and do this. It's not coming from that place. It has never came from that place, actually. It has never came from that place whatsoever. They don't do this with the intentions of hurting you. They don't. And I think that this person tries their hardest to understand, why this even affects you the way that it does, because you got to understand your feminine energy. This is a masculine energy you're dealing with. Y'all are not the same. You guys are wired very, very differently. The way they think, you don't think. The way you think, they don't think. The way you see things, they just don't see it that way. The way they see things, you just don't see it that way. You guys are wired differently, so they can try a million times to try to understand you and where you're coming from, and chances are they're probably not going to get it because they're not a feminine energy like you are. Just like you could sit here and try to wrap your brain around why they are the way that they are, you're never going to get it, because you're not a masculine energy. You're not living a masculine energy experience. You're living a feminine energy experience, just like they're living a masculine energy experience. They're not going to understand, what it's like to be you. You know what I mean? Just like you're not going to understand what it's like to be them, So, then there's that. But like I said, like if in the event it does happen again, you just got to approach it differently, because if you're able to approach it differently, you're going to get another side of them to essentially come out, which is that vulnerable side, that side where they feel like, they could talk to you and they could be open and honest with you without you turning around and attacking them for it or judging them for it. Because this is why masculine energies tend to keep a lot of things to themselves. When they're struggling with something, you rarely ever see a masculine energy in the corner crying some damn where. But chances are, if a feminine energy is going through something, you're more than likely going to see a feminine energy crying in the corner somewhere, and a bunch of people like, oh, what's wrong? Talk to me. But when it comes on to masculine energies, it's like they don't get that. They don't get that. They don't get that. There's not 1,000 people running to that masculine energy like, oh, let me be there for you. Why are you crying? It's just because masculine energies, it's just, society expects them to operate and function from, a specific place. Don't be emotional. Stop being a fucking little baby. Stop crying. Just toughen up and just do what you gotta do. You know what I mean? Feminine energies don't get that treatment. You know what I mean? Like masculine energies do. So this is why they keep a lot of things to themselves. And this is why it's so hard for them to be vulnerable, because society says, no, you cannot. You cannot be vulnerable. You cannot be at a bar, crying in the damn corner. You cannot do that. You got to suck it up, buttercup. You know what I mean? But if a feminine energy, is crying in a corner, people are going to be like, oh, like, poor thing. What's wrong? Talk to me. Why are you crying? If there was a masculine energy crying, people are going to look at that masculine energy like they have 10 heads, because society says, no, you cannot be that way. You cannot. You got to be tough, suck it up, buttercup. You know what I mean? And just handle your business. You know what I mean? And that's another thing, is that they've always been this way. They've always been this way. When they're struggling with something, they keep it to themselves because society says you have to. And that's what masculine energies are all about. You know what I mean? When you're struggling with something, you keep it to yourself and you figure it out. You know what I mean? And don't sit there and cry about it, because ain't nobody coming to save you anyways. Like, this is what's instilled in them, So, just a little more of my 2 cents, right? Just to help you better understand, you know what I mean? It's not that they don't want to tell you or they don't want to be open with you. They do. There's just a lot of things that go into play as to why they don't. It has a lot to do with the way that they were raised. It has a lot to do with what society says when it comes down to how they can and cannot be. It has a lot to do with your reaction, which I'm not, it's not your fault. It is what it is. If somebody does something to upset you, I mean, it makes sense as to why you're going to react. It makes total sense. I'm not putting the blame on you. I'm just saying that these are the things that cause them to essentially feel like they cannot be open with you, even though they totally can, and you're the perfect person to essentially do it with. I just think that they have yet to meet that version of you where they could be able to, talk to you, and you're not going to turn around and judge them. You're not going to turn around and attack them, That's it. But I think that the reason why they haven't is because they play a massive role in this. If this person tells you, yo, I'm not going to do this again, and they turn around and do it, I mean, yeah, you're not going to get this like sweet version of Gemini. It is what it is. You might as well just be asking for it at this damn point. You know what I mean? But if they were to be open, honest, and transparent with you when it comes down to what they're struggling with, they're going to get a whole other version of you. And that whole other version of you, once they do meet it, is going to make them feel like, okay, like I can come to Gemini. I can tell Gemini things. Like I don't actually have to be scared. They're going to listen to me. They're going to try to understand me, to the best of their ability, but they have to find the strength and the courage within themselves to even get it to that point. And if they can't find the strength and the courage within themselves to get it to that point, I'm telling you that if this person does do whatever this thing is again, you need to regroup. You need to regroup and approach them differently. Don't attack. Don't go to the shed and go get your machete. Please don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, keep it in the shed, okay? Keep it in the shed. Like, just regroup and talk to this person calmly. You know what I mean? Like, hey, like, what's going on? Like, like, can we talk about this? Like, what's going on? Like, you know what I mean? And I promise you, you'll get a different reaction. You won't get a defensive energy coming from them. You won't get any of those things. You won't get any of those things. But when you attack a masculine energies are going to get defensive. They're going to. It is what it is. Just like when you attack a feminine energy, they're going to get emotional. When you attack a masculine energy, they're going to get defensive. They're going to get upset. They're going to just make shit worse, unfortunately. You know what I mean? Like, so this is why, like masculine energies can't be like attacking, feminine energies, because they're gonna get emotional. Damn it. We're gonna get emotional. It is what it fucking is. You know what I mean? We don't like to be attacked. You know what I mean? We're gonna get emotional. We might just fuck around and cry on you. You know what I mean? But the masculine energies, they might not sit there and cry about it, but they'll sure as hell get pissed, and their ego and their pride is gonna come flying through the damn roof, like it is. So it's like, that's just what it is. All right, so that's what I have for you, my friend. Hopefully the reading helped. Hopefully it resonated, and I will see you guys in your next reading. Bye.